Welcome to DasGeek. Holy crap. This is the worst technology advancement of all time. This cord-cutting live TV thing is just a big pile of crap. Let me get that out of the way to begin with. And then I will give you a solution here out of these offerings, the best options that you have. And there's not a lot of good ones here, my friends, unfortunately. You would think in 2018 the industries would have come together and not made the same mistakes as the music industry and tried to find a good solution here for TV online. But that has not really happened, not with these offerings. It's really a sad state. I've signed up for every service you see here, PlayStation Vue, Sling, DirectTV Now, YouTube, Hulu, and I was disappointed ultimately with all of them. Although there are some better than the crap that's out there, this is a sad state. We can do so much better today than this. No wonder so many people are pirating their shows or going to those websites that basically play the content illegally and get taken down every couple of months, because with this current state of things, it's just no shock to me that people have turned in such droves to things like Netflix and other options that are so much better out there. But let's get started with what we have. And we're going to start with one of our top contenders here. This is one of the better services out there. But again, when you look at the price, depending on where you live and what you're paying for cable, a lot of these channels and packages you could get for the same price right through your cable company. So what exactly are you gaining here by going through one of these services? I'm a huge cord cutter. I've been a cord cutter before it was ever popular to be one to not have TV. But once you have kids, you start having to have certain channels and things that you want or content that they watch. And because of that, I've had to take a good look at some of these services to see if there's one that could provide. Now, we're not going to talk about Netflix and Amazon and some of those non-live TV services, because these are for individuals who have certain shows they want to watch live on their premiere, like The Walking Dead, for instance. And that was a big one for me, and having some kids' channels and things. So PlayStation Vue comes in at $39.99 at their base package. Of course, it has the asterisk there because you got taxes and other things. You've got a core for $44.99, and you can see these little icons start, not being grayed out as you go up in the packages. And the Ultra includes, I think, like HBOs and some of the premiere channels and things like that. So you're going to have to go in any of these services and look at the channel offerings and see, do they have the channel that you, your kids, your wife, and whatever want to watch within your household. If they don't have some of those channels, then it won't be good for you, even though I may say it's the best service out there. So you're going to have to look at the right channel there. So the cost is $39.99. All of these have a trial. They're about 7 days, so you can try any of these out. The channels here is about 46 in the base package that you have. You have some local channels. You have 5 accounts that you can stream simultaneously, and this is the biggest feature of this over any of the other packages. You have 5 accounts you can see. You can basically be watching live TV on. If your kids, your wife, everybody has different shows, they can all watch it. Here's the catch. Here's what makes PlayStation Vue a real pain, is that, first of all, when I first signed up for it and I signed in to my browsers, and I kept trying to sign in and get it to work in Linux or Chrome OS for that matter. Only happens to be the most popular laptop on the market today. It says it works with computers, but that's not the case. It only works if you have Windows running the latest Chrome or a Mac using Safari. If you do not have those two options, you will not be able to use PlayStation Vue. You'd have to use one of the other streaming devices like an Amazon Fire, Android, etc. It says it works on computers, but it does not. It only works on one operating system and one style of browser in each. And every time I tried to sign in, especially when I first got this service, initially I got 1010 error constantly, which is basically tells you have too many devices signing in, even though I didn't even have one streaming. And it's supposed to be 5 devices you can stream simultaneously, not just signed in. You can have as many as you want signed in, but streaming simultaneously. But in one, I got the 1010 error. Then it logs you out basically for 3 hours. It gives you a 3-hour penalty if you get that error. So you have to wait 3 hours. And after that 3 hours, I was able to sign in through my phones and some other devices and could stream, but then got 1010 errored again because I was trying on my computer to get it to work, to figure out a way to get it to work on the Chrome OS or get it to work on Linux. Wouldn't work, so I got 1010 again, had to wait another 3 hours. Very, very frustrating and stupid the way they've set that up, and the penalty is ridiculous, waiting 3 hours in between. So make sure they even tell you it's not based on sign-ons, but it clearly is. Make sure you're only signing into this on devices you're going to use right then, and don't try to do it too much, because if you get over 5 logins, boom, you're gone. You're going to be waiting 3 hours there. But it has a lot of devices it supports. I have a PS3, I have a PS4, so it's kind of a natural choice for me on that. It has the channels like AMC and things that I want. It has a great backlog of shows as well that you can watch. It has DVR services. You can, if you have a Chromebook that allows you to use the Play Store, the Android Play Store, you can download the app there and play it through the Play Store. So that's a workaround for Chrome OS. I have not found a workaround for Linux. Very ridiculous. That's the 5-device annoyance. It has up to 720p on your computer if you can find one that it works with, if you happen to be somebody who still uses Windows. And then you've got different add-ons and things, of course, that you can get in there, like sports packs and stuff like that. If you're interested in those things, additional $10 a month gets you a bunch more sports pack channels, Spanish channels, and that type of thing. So that's their offering, one of the few offerings that has multiple tiers that you can add on. So your cheapest offering, if you are a frugal individual, is Sling, because its base is $20 and it goes up to $25. So let's take a look at Sling here. It's a little bit of a confusing plan option. I didn't really understand when I was first looking at it what this yellow and blue thing was. But basically, those are the two plan types. You can start with a base of yellow at $20 or a base of $25, and then you can add packages on, which range from $5 to $10 a month for additional channels, like you want a kids pack and that type of stuff. You add those in. So you get a lot of channels, but not in their base packages. You're pretty much guaranteed, unless you just happen to be the lucky one that has a few of those channels that's included in the base, to be adding on to this, which means that this quickly gets up into the $35, $40 range that most of these are at anyways, and everything's a la carte. So, for instance, if you want to add in the DVR service, that's an additional $5 a month there by itself. So again, it's really cheaper as a base, but it adds up really quick, and you're going to be probably right at the same price you were for any of these other packages, which is why I didn't choose it as my number one option here. It has a good selection of devices that you can stream on. No contract. None of these have contracts, which is fantastic. You can add on, obviously, some premium channels and things. You can get a free Roku if you prepay for 2 months as an offering they have, at least right now. They may change that offering in the future. Limited DVR based on the channels, and it requires an app to stream. So, again, your Linux, your Chrome, unless you have, again, a device that allows you to install PlayStation, you're out on Chrome as well and playing this on your computer. So that is kind of limiting as well. One of my major annoyances with all of these. The worst package, by the way, the absolute worst streaming service out there is DirectTV Now. What a joke this thing is. So $35 trial for this, but they have multiple packages very similar to PlayStation View. You've got $35, $50, $60, and $70 a month with all of these awesome channels. This one looked the most tempting to me, even though I was like, it's a big company behind it. Any company that deals with phones and contracts and all of that, they kind of sometimes have screwy billing systems, and so I was kind of put off by that, but I thought I'll give it a try. You can have 2 accounts, 2 simultaneously streaming. By the way, on Sling, you can have 1 for $20, 3 for $25, 4 for $40. Everything's a la carte, like I said. This one, you get 2. They don't even have DVR yet, which is pretty pathetic, considering it's DirecTV and AT&T, and they have that in their base service, but somehow we're unable to set that up for this. It's apparently coming at some point. They have an okay selection of devices that you can stream from, and they have premium networks and things that you can add on there. No consoles are supported, so if you have an Xbox, PS3, PS4, doesn't matter, you're not going to be able to play it, at least from what I could find. Wonky site, some of the things when you're starting to go sign up look like, well, after a certain amount of time, it's going to go up to $70 a month. And then when I went and clicked through it, I didn't see that anymore. So I don't know if it's just them trying to get you to sign up for that initially or what, but it's kind of the typical big business crap that, they pull. Incredible amounts of commercials. This is the worst service out there, period. There was a show my wife and I were watching, and we compared between PlayStation View at this point and DirectTV. The show on DirectTV was like an hour and 20 minutes or something along those lines. The show within PlayStation View was an hour. They added an additional 20 minutes of commercials in there on top of the commercials that are already there, because you can't fast forward through the commercials on any of these on demand. Only if you're watching live or something could you pause and maybe fast forward, depending on the channel. Again, this is what I'm telling you. All this cord cutting stuff is a complete joke because they tell you one thing, but there's always these little exceptions out there that all these little networks have made, and this is why everybody goes out and pirates their content instead. But in any case, you're going to be sitting there and getting interrupted constantly on DirectTV with commercials, 3 to 6 at a time, and it seems like they were hitting every 10 minutes of content. It was infuriating. You couldn't even enjoy the content. Stay away from this like the plague. It's the worst thing on the planet. YouTube TV. I had high hopes for this, and it's still not a bad offering depending on what you're looking for. But YouTube TV, the good thing is you've got 6 accounts. You have 3 simultaneous streamings. You have unlimited DVR capabilities, so unlimited storage. It's Google. That's not shocking. What a cool offering they have there. You've got a ton of devices that you can stream from. But keep in mind that Google seems to get in battles with relationships constantly with companies. And that means your Amazon devices, all your Fire tablets, your Fire TV stream boxes and sticks and all of that will not work with this service. No Amazon support, because you remember recently they've gotten into some type of battle and they were all pulled. The same, of course, goes with the consoles. There was no TV service for me to add there, no PS4 support, and 480p max on a computer. But I'll give them this. They're the only one that you could run on any OS through the browser as long as you were using Chrome, which is an advantage over some of the others if you end up watching TV a lot through your computers and you don't just happen to use Windows with Chrome or a Mac with Safari. That's an option there. Their TV, their offering as far as channels and things seem to be a little more limited in the channels that they offered in their base package. I didn't like the interface either. It wasn't as solid of an interface to really navigate through. It was a little more confusing than some of the others. So ultimately not my favorite. But it's $35, so it's cheaper by $4 than some of the other options here. Not as cheap as Sling's base, but again, we've talked about Sling and its offering. So the next one was Hulu Live TV. This looked like a really solid offering. You have 2 simultaneous streaming, 2 accounts, 50 hours of cloud storage, lots and lots of device support out there, and you get your $8 subscription to Hulu included, so that includes some of their original content and shows that come out, that Hulu has or supports that sometimes come out 24, 48 hours after they air. You've got all of that content, some of their movies and things like that included in this base package, but they don't have AMC. So the one thing I was looking for was AMC for The Walking Dead, and you can't get that. But otherwise, it's not, it's a good offering out there. So really, the choices here are Hulu TV, PlayStation View, maybe Sling as well, depending on the channels that you need. DirectTV Now, YouTube TV, if you only watch your content through. But you can see, basically, there is no clear winner. There are all these exceptions depending on what you personally need here. I do, however, enjoy PlayStation View's interface the most. It is the most logical and easy to navigate. My wife and other people who aren't into all this geeky technology stuff were able to easily figure out how to get to the different shows and what they wanted to watch. It has a lot of great on-demand content. So ultimately, that's the one I will be sticking with for now anyways. So let me know in the comments below, have you tried any of these channels out? Have you tried any of these streaming services? Did you have issues with them? Did you enjoy them? Did you hate them? Did you run into the PlayStation 1010 error that never seems to go away? And let me know which one you ultimately chose. Definitively, I can't tell you what's the best. I can just tell you which ones to avoid, basically, because even though it's 2018, we're still stuck with this crap as our choices with all of these limitations that they still have today. Probably because the networks want to try to avoid people pirating stuff, so they make it so you have to pirate stuff if you really want to watch it anyways, which is the stupidity of this industry as a whole. Until next time, people, get out there and fill your brains. Don't forget us.